this week's Cyber Conversation brought to you by Peraton. My name is Janessa Palmieri, and on behalf of Peraton, we are proud to partner with Cyber to bring you these weekly conversations. For those of you who are joining us today for the first time, Cyber is a program out of Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota, that works to motivate, empower, and educate young women in cybersecurity. Just a reminder, at any point during the program, you can ask a question via the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. I am very honored to introduce today's speaker, Sonya Moisset. Sonya is a lifelong traveler who lived in the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia, and is always looking for new challenges. She has made a career switch from international business consultant in Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore to full stack software engineer in South Korea to principal security engineer in the UK. Wow, that was a lot of countries. Sonya, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Cool. So hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Cyber Conversation for having me today. So I'm Sonya, and I wear dark hoodies. I listen to a lot of synthwave music, so I am a legit security engineer, obviously. So I'll talk about my journey to the tech industry with a little bit of cybersecurity flavor to it. So I started with this computer when I was 5-6 years old. This is an MSX from the Japanese brand Sanyo. This is also when I started playing video games. This one is Penguin's Adventure from Konami. This is also where I started using floppy disks. But most importantly, this is when I started having my first experience with programming and also experience with what looks like the blue screen of death. It was more of a try and experiment and fail most of the time to create small programs. So I don't have a CS degree. I attended a business school in Paris. I worked as a business consultant in Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore for more than 12 years. I was always looking for new challenges. So when I moved to South Korea, I challenged myself to learn Korean. First, because it would ease my understanding of the culture and my stay there, but also because most of the Korean companies I was working with required to have a strong level of Korean. So I went back to uni to learn Korean part-time. After I finished learning Korean at the university, I was still looking for a new challenge. This time I was looking for something a little bit more technical. The Korean companies I was working with were asking me to create their websites. So I have been in charge of designing their websites, creating them, hosting them, and maintaining them. I was doing this all by myself and entirely self-taught. Also at the same time, Mr. Robot, the series was airing. And it made me think about what I really wanted to do in my professional career, back to my first love, and actually to do it 100% of the time, to take the leap and work in the tech industry. Ironically, a few years later, I was working in the cybersecurity space. But first, I had to switch my mindset to start this journey to the tech industry. So I started by setting up goals and defining a roadmap. So I sat down and took some time to do research on what I knew, what I needed to spend more time on, what I really need in terms of tech skills to be marketable. I spent quite a few times doing a gap analysis on my tech skills so I can better focus on what I needed to learn next in terms of programming languages and all those tech skills. I've been constantly reminding myself to not procrastinate. Your worst enemy is yourself, and time is not an infinite resources, unfortunately, so I'd better be disciplined and follow my plan. So there are many ways to see which kind of skills are required on the marketplace in your area. And one way I've been using was going to job search engine and type the role that I was interested in. And I checked the first 30, 50 job specs and took the key skills they were looking for. That gave me a good idea of what I need to focus on. Obviously, you might have some nonsense on some of the job specs when they're requiring you to have X number of years, especially when you're juniors. Just ignore them, but you can still get a good idea of what's needed. What I've also did was to use Google Trends to see which tech was used the most. In that case, I was comparing different JavaScript frameworks and comparing the potential adoption in different regions. I also tried to stay curious. So when I started the journey, I didn't have access to much educational online platforms. Nowadays, there are way more platforms and for free. Some of them were free, like YouTube, the Alden Project. Other also allow you to get a free weekend, like Pluralsight and Code School. But if you want to upskill and get feedback and support, I would recommend to be involved in the community. And that's what I've did with FreeCodeCamp. FreeCodeCamp is an online platform where you can learn code for free and get certificates. And it helped me a lot to be disciplined during my journey. I was heading the local chapter in Seoul. So we were doing weekly meetups where we're all working on different projects and talking about our challenges through our journey. I've also started blogging. So I started blogging for FreeCodeCamp on algorithms. This could be considered a niche, but I tried to explain step by step some of the algo challenge from FreeCodeCamp and give several solutions. This gave me visibility, but most importantly, it's a good way to learn by teaching others because you need to understand the concept before explaining to others. I also gave presentations at these meetups. Again, this allows me to learn more concepts while I was teaching others on something specific or something I was interested in. But one important thing that I did when I was embarking on this journey was to brand yourself. So you can have your own website. It doesn't need to be something complex. You can start with a Google site and then expand if you want to experiment on something more customized, or if you want to experiment with some technologies. I use some templates for a starting point just to have something that I could showcase online. I also use GitHub. This is a website where you could host your codes. So I created a GitHub profile where I stored my different projects. And this was to showcase the different project I was working on, should it be personal or just contributing to open source. The cool thing with GitHub is that you can have this cool graph during Halloween. Also, I was using the README section on GitHub to showcase the ability to write good documentation. Being technical is one thing, but it's not only being good on that one and using the latest programming languages. It's also a lot of different things, which include also writing good documentation. Also, your future self will thank you when you come back to your project in 6 months' time. You can also use LinkedIn or Twitter or any other social media that you're familiar with to brand yourself and showcase what you're focusing on these days, what you're interested in, or what you're currently learning. For LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, if you have a profile, you can turn on the creator modes, and it will allow you to add a couple of hashtags under the tagline at the top of your profile, just to showcase what you're interested in and what you'd like to talk about. LinkedIn has also changed its UI, and you can now feature some of your work. So you can showcase a personal project you've been working on GitHub, for instance, if you attended a meetup, if you read an article and you just wanted to share your thoughts on it, etc. If you're part of an organization or you're volunteering and you want to showcase this, you can also do it on LinkedIn. This is also a good way to showcase your passion in what you're doing in this field. Another challenge I took in 2017 was to apply to the Google Developer Challenge Scholarship. I decided to learn Android mobile development. Why not? They're doing this quite often. Google is doing this quite often and on different technologies. So might have a look also to trying to get a scholarship from them. It's also a good way to upskill by benefiting of mentorship and the network through this program. And you can also showcase the project that you have and capstone that you've done on your LinkedIn, on GitHub, or different social media that you're using. One of the most important things is networking, if you can. I know it's difficult now with the pandemic, but if you can attend meetups or conferences, even online, you can learn a lot about new technologies. Even if it's not something you're learning now, this could be of interest. You can discover something new, you can exchange with different people, and also with people who are also learning, going through the same challenges as you. So I've been going to a lot of meetups pre-pandemic, mostly to learn, obviously, but also because you can get free food and cool swag. You can't say no to free swag. So how did I move to cybersecurity? So at one of my previous workplace, I was working as a full stack software engineer. I was still giving back to the community, giving classes using the FreeCodeCamp curriculum. But mostly I was sitting next to the security team. And I became one of their informal security champions. So basically, security champions will bridge between the developers and the security team. So I was asking a lot of questions on what they were doing, what tools they were using. I think I got fed up of that. And at the end, they asked me if I wanted to join the team because that would be easier. I said yes. So again, I attended a lot of meetups and conferences in the InfoSec community. I listened to podcasts. I've watched videos on YouTube. I joined communities. What I would recommend for women in cybersecurity or in tech is probably to start looking for women in tech communities first, because this is a safe place where you can ask questions if you're scared of mixed events. Also, I would recommend sometimes doing open source. So if you don't know where to start, open source is also a good way to become a little bit more technical by helping the wider community. A good starting point for doing this is during the Hacktober Fest. So it's every October every year. So I did some volunteering at Prime London for less than 4 years. I was the tech lead and the security manager there. How did it happen? So I got the opportunity by attending a meetup at the Facebook offices, where an agency was looking for developers to contribute to this open source project for the website and for the mobile application. So during this opportunity, I had the chance to lead a team of 20+ developers for both the web application and mobile application. Also, I had exposure to a lot of new cool tech. I also had the opportunity to experiment with some of these technologies, which is something that I might not have at the workplace I was working at or at my current workplace. So that was a great opportunity. And what I've done is using the GitHub Marketplace. So I would certainly recommend you, if you're familiar or using GitHub, to go and have a look at the marketplace. This is a great place to start to add some tools around quality, security, if you want to create some specific workflows within your development pipeline. And also for the open source project, so each of the tools that we were using, you could actually add this little tag on the README file, on the README section. So I added all the little tags just to showcase the health of the project and also to attract new maintainers on that. We've also used the automated boards from GitHub. So nothing fancy. We're using the project management tools, the paid one. We're using the GitHub one. And the funny thing here, because it's automated, so the card would move by themselves depending on the states on the development that it was. But because I was working as a security engineer, I wanted to secure the projects, and I could apply those skills within that open source project. So I started creating playbooks with, for example, requiring 2FA, reviewing the members' permissions, also by protecting the development branch by using different tools and make them required during the pipeline, just making sure that the code that we were shipping to production was secure and stable. We then released the final product and presented again at the same meetup. And it was great to have been part of this adventure, where I had the great opportunity to upskill, not only on the tech side, but also around managing people, project management, business requirements, understanding, etc. And see the project I've been working on with my team released to the public. It was really great. So are you still doing all of this today? The short answer is yes. So I have a really simple website just to showcase what I'm doing these days. I'm still blogging for FreeCodeCamp, but this time I'm doing it on the security side. I'm doing walkthrough for Hack the Box. I'm also giving talks at meetups, conferences, and for companies, this time more on the security side. I've also been recognized at a GitHub Star, a Snyk ambassador, and more recently as an Open UK ambassador. This is around the open source security piece. I'm an ambassador for Girl Code because I'm a strong advocate for women in tech, so it was natural for me to accept when they asked me. I've been one of the top contributors for FreeCodeCamp for 4 years in a row, again, just to give back to the community. I gave talks to events for women in tech because, as I said, this is really important for me. I gave talks in location. I couldn't even dream about it when I started this journey. This one is at Facebook. I usually, like 5-6 years ago, I was sitting and just attending those events, but speaking in front of people is a totally different experience. I give talks in front of many people. That was scary, especially for me as I'm an introvert. I also gave a talk that allowed me to get a role at a company I'm working with now. And this is me after all of this. This is not to brag. This is literally my face every time. I'm just a shocked Pikachu. I also launched an initiative in 2019 called Epic Women in Cyber and Epic Women in Tech. So this initiative is to showcase women in the industry and try to inspire other women to come learn about their journey challenges. Some of them are career switcher or they're just new joiners in the industry. So it's always interesting to see how they achieve their transition to the tech industry and what are their piece of advice. So the interviews are on Medium. The initiative have pages on LinkedIn and Twitter as well, so it's available on social media. I won an award for this initiative last year. Again, shocked Pikachu face. I wasn't expecting at all this to happen. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Your best friend, the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is hitting hard for many reasons. First of all, because I don't have a CS degree, because I'm self-taught. There's a lot of because. I might be considered as a fraud for some, I don't know enough. There's always something I could be afraid of. What I would recommend is to just let go of all of this and try to get projects that can challenge you, should be at work or if you're volunteering at an organization. I've done it with FreeCodeCamp. I've done it with Prime London. I've done it with the community. This gave me a little bit more confidence. So don't be afraid. You will always learn something new through this journey. But yeah, some days it does hit hard. So if I haven't scared you, and if you still want to learn more about security, I'd gladly share some resources. So if you're interested in development sides, I would strongly recommend OWASP. OWASP, that stands for Open Web Application Security Projects, which is a nonprofit foundation that works to improve the security of software. And they do provide a lot of guides. Usually OWASP is best known for the OWASP Top 10, but they do have a lot of great projects. It's all free. So I strongly recommend to have a look at it if you're interested in development sides. If you're more hands-on and you want to learn ethical hacking and don't know where to start, Try Hack Me is a good starting point. A lot of rooms with step-by-step guides. When you're more confident, you can jump on Hack the Box, where they also have machines that you can try to pwn and get. It's more like a capture the flag thing. They also have an academy to teach you how to do it. There's also Portswigger that has a web security academy, which is free, and they have lessons, tutorials, and labs. When you feel more confident and you want to earn some money, you can participate to the Bug Bounties program from Backrub and HackerOne. They also have academies to train you on that. If you like to listen to podcasts, I would recommend Darknet Diaries. This one is really amazing. If you're more interested on the DevOps, DevSecOps sides, Snyk has a podcast series called The Secure Developer, also really good content. And lastly, to finish with YouTube, there's also a lot of great content creators on YouTube. And also a shout out to all the women who's doing really great content on YouTube, like Insider PhD, Cybersecurity Mag, Alison Knight, and Rana Khalil. And there's also dozens others. So yeah, I would also strongly recommend you have a look at YouTube for those content creators. Some key takeaways. So to finish, my journey was challenging. It wasn't impossible. It was actually quite exciting. As I said, don't forget to get involved in the community if you can. This will help you start building your network, find mentors, and get guidance and directions. Have a feel on new technologies, participate in open source, experiment, and be curious. Also, if you can, develop your brand to showcase your successes, what you've been working on at the moment, what you want to learn. If you have any badges of completion, certificates, don't be afraid of sharing this. It's always a good thing. And also soft skills are important because we've been talking about tech skills, but you might have transferable skills as well. But yeah, I would like to finish with my motto, which is get secure, be secure, and stay secure. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonya. That was great. We really appreciate having you here on Cyber Conversations. We are now up for the Q&A. Let me check here. All right. So one question that we have is, what would you like your lasting impact to be?
Sorry, can you repeat? I haven't heard the question, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. What would you like your lasting impact to be?
My last big impact to be, I would say probably the initiative Epic Women in Cyber, because reading of all this experience from amazing women did impact in some way, just being inspired by what they've been going through, what they're doing, what they're experiencing. Yeah, I would probably say this initiative is, yeah.
All right. And then what is a risk that you took in your career that you think paid off?
I would say when I did the career switch from business to tech, it wasn't an easy one. Yeah, it was quite challenging because I didn't know where I was going. I was just trusting myself. Yeah, the thing was that moment when I took the leap of faith and went on 100% to relearning programming, and just have a go in the tech industry and cybersecurity after that.
We do have a question in the Q&A. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I would say you can do it. Don't be afraid to speak up, because sometimes we might be afraid to speak up during meetings or at your work or in any initiatives or organization. Yeah, just don't be afraid. Just do it. It's worth it. Yeah.
And then what does your typical day at work look like for you?
Sure. So I'm working as a principal security engineer at Photobox. Usually working on more the DevSecOps side of it. So basically, looking at securing the development pipeline, so implementing tools. So I might have calls with different vendors to implement those vendors in the pipeline, just to compare which one would be a good fit. I would also do the proof of concept. So I'll take the one that we've chosen, and for a trial period, just try and have a go implementing it through the pipeline, and just feedback to the engineers or try to onboard them. I would also try to educate the engineers. So depending on the results that we're getting from all these tools, we might have to triage the findings, the vulnerability that we have, and then try to customize the education piece to feedback to the engineers. So depending on the findings, if it's around cross-site scripting or authentication issues, I'll have a customized presentation that I'll have to do in front of the engineers. So that's the fun bit with interacting with the engineers there. What I would say a bit more boring around compliance and framework and all of those, which might be also exciting. It depends on the projects. But yeah, this would be a typical day. Yeah, if it's not on the DevSecOps side, it would be on the cloud security or network security, but it would be the same. Yes.
All right. One of the questions is, what is your favorite programming language?
Ooh. I would say probably it will be between Python and JavaScript for different reasons. So I've restarted programming with JavaScript for development. I do quite like Python for all the scripting side. So yeah, it would be between Python and JavaScript.
Okay. And then one of the questions is, how do you beat procrastination?
It's a hard one to be disciplined. What I've done with FreeCodeCamp and GitHub, what can help you, it's the little streak that you have on your profile. I know this one is debatable because it might be good or bad to have those strict, but it helps you getting discipline. Also, another way is to make yourself accountable on social media. So if you announce that in 30 days you're going to learn a new technology and you can update on your social media your progress, that's a way to keep you accountable and disciplined and stop procrastinating. But yeah, it's like sport, I guess. You have to do it every day and then you get the habits. It's really hard at the beginning, but then yeah, you get it. Yeah.
All right. And then another question is, who or what inspires you?
Ooh, I would say back to the initiative, the Epic Women in Cyber and Epic Women in Tech. All those women are amazing and they do inspire me. So that would be one. I don't have one specific role model apart from my parents, my mom, but that sounds like a cheesy answer. But yeah, on the professional side, yeah, I would say all the amazing women that I've been interviewing. Yeah, just amazed by what they're doing. Yeah.
Let's see here. What is the coolest thing that you've ever done?
Ooh, I think it was in South Korea. I did high five Pikachu. It was, to give a little bit of context, it was during the Pokemon Championship, and I think they brought it back to South Korea because I think the winner was South Korean. So they've organized an event and they had Pikachus. I high five one of them.
Nice. So what is one of your favorite places that you've lived so far?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I would say probably be between South Korea and Singapore. Really good place to live in. Yeah.
Is it usually typically warm over there, or is it a little?
So Singapore is okay. It's warm, really humid, but it's still the same temperature, almost the same the whole year, compared to South Korea, where they have proper 4 seasons. So yeah, it's you need to be prepared for the winter. Yeah, it could be hard.
All right. And then how do you maintain your schedule to do all of your activities between work and like social life and everything?
It's difficult, but I do use an agenda just to make sure that I have time for everything. Also, not to have all my time eaten up by by work, by training, and all of those. Just to also have some time for myself, just to have to empty empty my head as well. So yes, I take some time also to watch movie, listen to music or podcasts, or just have some time just to do nothing as well. But yeah, if you have to be really good at time managing and using an agenda for that.
All right. And then how many languages do you speak?
Ooh, so I speak English, French, Spanish, and Korean so far. Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, and then I think we have about time for one more question. So what advice would you give to all the young people watching this session?
Sure. So I would say, as I said, stay curious. So if you're interested in technology or cybersecurity, and if you have the opportunity to join a meetup or a community where you can actually ask questions and have the opportunity to see professionals or just to ask questions and all of that, and that would be one thing to attend meetups. But also, as I mentioned on the resource side, watch YouTube or listen to podcasts and try to find something that where you have interest in, because you might think, oh, I like technology, but I'm not really sure which one. So it'd be good also to just have a look at different YouTube channels or different podcasts, just to see which section of technology or cybersecurity you might be more interested in. So yeah, just be curious and experiment. Don't be scared of experimenting. If you don't like it, it's fine. There's a lot of things in technology and cybersecurity that might be something that you might be interested in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonya. You're really inspiring. Like, you know so much, and you have like traveled the world and been with so many different companies and organizations, and volunteering to promote women in cyber. And we really appreciate it here. It's the amazing work that you do. And I also love that you provided resources as well. So for the audience, all the resources that she provided, you can go on YouTube and watch the video, and then be able to access those links. So I'll end it with a quick poll. So Sonya and Caitlin and I don't have to complete the poll, but our audience can. And so it should pop up on the screen there. And so if you could just take a minute or two and fill that out, that would be great. And don't forget to follow Cyber on our social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course, our YouTube channel where this video will be later. So, and also check out our website for middle schoolers. We will be hosting a summer camp in Madison, South Dakota for the Gen Cyber Camps. So register for that as well. So thank you for joining us, and thank you to Sonya again, and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.